What's up, Charles? Listen, man, I love your vlog, man. I'm one of your biggest fans of it. Listen, you need to keep making videos. You need to keep working on your game. And you know what? One day you'll be a big poker star like me. Take care. Stay safe. Peace.
What's up, YouTube? I bet you're asking yourself, wait a moment, didn't he just post a video about the poker meetup? You're right, I did. But this is gonna be a follow-up video for two reasons. Number one, I have to put out the news that the next meetup, which was scheduled for March 21st, will be canceled and is canceled. It's already been reported by a couple of the other vloggers that I was working with. Just want to put this out here on the channel that, of course, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we will be halting that. And in fact, they just announced in San Francisco that there is an order for shelter in place for the 6 surrounding counties, which means that starting to midnight tonight, you shouldn't be outside unless absolutely necessary, which includes like going to the grocery store, pharmacies, banks, some takeout food, some essentials. But anyway, so we do have a number of hands actually that I left out with the last video, which I had made. So because there was a bit of a lack of foresight on my behalf, in which I didn't favorite all the videos that were supposed to be part of the hand history reviews, I'm now here kind of forced to make a second video to kind of detail the hands that I'd forgotten, one in which was actually the second biggest pot that I'd played. So I wanted to put out a second video kind of updating everybody what's going on, as well as letting you know that I'm going to try to be putting out a regular vlog detailing the sessions that I've been playing over the last couple of weeks since I've been playing full-time once again. So the plan is to kind of get back into the full swing of things by putting out regular content. I have probably 30 sessions that I hadn't completed. Oh, Benjamin over there. Say hi, buddy.
Hi.
So there's actually a lot of sessions that I haven't been able to go through. So this is going to provide that perfect opportunity to go over everything. So again, you know, I hope everybody out there stays healthy. You know, there is a order to stay at home if you can. Social distancing is, I guess, the new normal. So after today, we'll be kind of stuck inside our homes here in the Bay Area. So I wish you guys all the best, and hopefully you guys can enjoy the added content that we'll be putting out. All right, let's jump into the remainder of that poker meetup, and we'll see you guys in the next bunch of episodes that are to come. Thanks. Now I am at the third table of the day for me. I had just moved over. I'd say probably within like the first orbit, if not for the first couple of hands. I have 8-5 suited in the small blind. I think there's a few limpers. Since we were playing 3-3, I just checked my option from the small blind. Now the big blind makes it 20. He's a bit of an action player. I had played with him at a previous meetup game. He likes to put in chips, so I like playing pots with him. Fun guy, really cool. So he makes it 20. He gets 2 calls. I put in the 17 more with the 8-5 suited. You know, let's gamble it up. And we are rewarded quite heavily when the flop comes Jack 8-5 rainbow flopping bottom 2. I check. He bets 55. One of the limpers jams for a total of 75. Folds. Now there's a fold behind him, and I make it 250, playing about a $700 stack. Now the big blind who had raised to 20 thinks for a bit and rips it in pretty quickly, covering me. He has like 2K or something like that. So yeah, obviously I'm snapping off here with bottom 2. You know, if he flops like Jack 8 or a set of jacks or a set of 8s or whatever, congratulations to him. So I call it off. Turns a queen. It's a little bit scary, obviously, because he could have hands like queen jack. The river, I think, is a brick. I show my hands. The limper has queen jack, so he turned top 2. So if I'm going to lose to somebody, I'm going to hope it's to him, because that pot is significantly smaller than our side pot. And thankfully, I beat the original raiser's hand, who has jack 10. So he flopped top pair and decided to get it all in there for the 700. Like I said, he likes to gamble. I mean, I guess he blocks some good hands. Like, he's going to put me in a world of hurt, like if I myself have a hand like king jack, queen jack, but it's just very unlikely for me to be getting this out of line with a hand like queen jack making it 250. There's really not that many draws present. The only real draws I could have are like 10-9 and 6-7, and if I had those draws, I probably wouldn't try to isolate the guy who's already all in. Like, that money's already in there. I'd rather, you know, just call, because the original bettor was 55 and he can't re-raise, so there'd be really no reason for me to open up the betting. So obviously I don't really like his line to be getting in there with jack 10. But if I had a hand like king jack or queen jack, yeah, I'd probably fold it. And that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't be raising in that spot, because you can get put in a world of hurt if somebody has a blocker, has the top pair and wants to get it in. So we did win a majority of that pot. That main pot was like 300-ish, so we didn't win that, but we do win the other side, which was like 1,200 or something like that. So that's pretty nice. Now at this point, I'm up like maybe like $500 or $600. So yeah, there's some action to be had in these meetup games. In this next hand, I opened to 10 with ace-6 diamonds. To my immediate left, my good buddy Victor calls. Somebody that I've played a lot with at the casino during the daytime in 3-5 no limit. I think we go multi-way to a flop, which comes jack 4-7 with 2 diamonds, so I flopped the nut flush draw. I bet 20, and he is to my immediate left and calls. We go heads up to a turn, which is an offsuit 9. I think I should probably just be double barreling here and then giving up on rivers because he's most likely going to have a jack. But I decided to check here, kind of evaluate versus certain sizings. I didn't think the 9 was that great of a card to be double barreling on. I think if some overcard came like a king, ace, king, or queen, then I'd be much more likely to be betting. So I check and he bets 40. It's unlikely that I have the best hand, but I am still drawing to the nuts. Being out of position, drawing to a flush is bad because now when I make the flush and I have to bet, it's going to look a lot like I have that flush. That said, I think I'm still ahead of some of his hands. He can have 5-6 for a straight draw. He can have queen X suited, king X suited for flush draws, worse flush draws. So I decided to call. The river's the 5 of diamonds, making me the nuts. And I think for a bit in check, I think sometimes he's going to hit himself, have flush draw here. I think it's probably better to just bet because if he made a flush, he's probably going to raise me. And if he does have a jack, he's just way too likely to be checking it back. So I check, and he snap checks back jack 9 for top 2 pair. I got owned. I played that hand about as bad as I could have. It would have been really interesting if I bet turn, he raised, depending on raise size, I might have just called, still try to get there, and then I'd be leading the river. But yeah, I'm surprised he didn't decide to value bet fold this hand on the river, because I think you should still be betting it. I think you can bet something like half pot, third pot, and fold to check raises, because if I'm going to be check raising, I'm just always going to have a flush. But yeah, he owned me. Well played, Victor. Nice hand. Up until this point, I'd actually been limping versus some limps. It felt like there was some trapping going on, but I started seeing what hands were getting shown down, and I've decided I'm done with that. I'm done with the limping facing limps. So there's 2 limps. I have ace-2 suited and make it 20. I get a call on the button from my buddy Victor. One of the blinds calls, and I think one of the limpers calls. We go 4 ways to a flop, which comes queen 10-5, 1 spade. Goes check to me. I think this board is just going to hit a 4-handed range very often. Someone's going to either flop a straight draw, top pair, second pair, and it just isn't going to be folding. And I've got really no real equity on this board except the backdoor flush draw. So I decided to check, and now the button checks as well. Turn is a 6 of spades. The small blind bets 20. The other player calls. I contemplate raising versus this small sizing within a flush draw, but I don't really know what I'd be repping here. I'd always be betting the flop with top pair. I'd always be betting the flop with a set because there are some straight draws. I wouldn't be checking with one person to act. So I think when I raise this turn, it's going to look a lot like I just have a turn flush draw or exactly a set of 6s. So I decided to just call. The button calls as well. The river is an ace, making me top pair. Now it goes check. I don't think I could really be getting value here with the ace. It's most likely that I've possibly sucked out versus some like second pair type holdings. There is king jack out there for the nuts. And I think it's a good spot to be checking and allowing the button to try to bluff if he has a hand that can't be shown down to win. So I check, and the button quickly checks back and tables jack 9 for jack high. And then the other 2 players muck. I was pretty surprised to see this, that jack high actually had the both of them beat. So I don't know I guess they had exactly 7-8 or turn spades, worse spades. So anyway, we scooped this pot. Nothing too exciting, but pretty interesting, I think, to kind of see what happened. I think the jack 9 should be betting this river, facing the 3 checks to him. It's just a good bluff card. He can't show down a winner, although he almost did. So I think he ought to be betting this river, given the action and how the hand played. Obviously, lucky for him that he didn't, because I was check calling versus like any sizing from him. And that brings us to the last interesting hand of note. There are a couple of limps, one of which includes the guy with the ace-6 of hearts that I had the hero call with on the river. I isolate the button with 10-9 offsuit. I think I make it like 25. Folds to him and he calls. We go heads up to a flop, which comes 10-7-3 with 2 diamonds. He tanks for quite some time and ends up checking. Like I've mentioned in the past, when people do this, I just think they're generally pretty weak and are trying to get you to check it back, and they don't have much of a hand. So I bet 30, which is about half pot given the other limps in the hands. And he calls. The turn is the 6 of diamonds bringing in a flush, and now he leads for 75, which I was pretty surprised about, because obviously he's repping a straight here, which I block with the 9, or he's repping a flush. And like I said, I just didn't really think that I was behind on the flop, and I didn't really think that he would be doing this with a flush draw on the flop where he like tank checks. You know, you'll see that some people do that sometimes when they flop like a decent draw and they don't really know if they want to be betting it, and then they just decide to check in game flow. So it is possible that he has a flush here, but I just didn't feel like I was behind, like I said, and so I like to call. The river is an offsuit deuce, and now he bets 105 of his like remaining, I think 250 or 300, something like that. So it looks like a value bet. I don't really beat anything. Like, it's hard to think of just hands on like a 10-7-3 2 diamond board when it turns to 6 of diamonds that I beat. Maybe like 6-5 for a gut shot. I would imagine that those hands would just be betting larger as a bluff, like jamming this river all in. So it feels like a value bet. So after thinking for quite some time, I decided to just fold. Like I said, I don't have the 9 of diamonds in my hand either, so it just kind of feels like a flush draw. So I fold, and thankfully, or at least, you know, nice enough for me, he ends up showing 7-4 of diamonds. So he flopped a pair and a flush draw, which kind of makes sense, obviously, why he had tanked the flop, and then thought about leading it because, you know, he flops a pretty good hand with a pair and a flush draw. So we lose that hand, and I end up playing a little bit longer, switch finally to the final, the last game, the 5th table, play there for a bit before we call it an evening. I ended up booking like an $804 win. All right, so that concludes the last of the hands that we had missed from the previous vlog. Today is day 1 of shelter in place here in San Francisco, making the best of what we can, hanging out at home with Charlie, doing some homework, building some trains. Again, the poker meetup that we had scheduled for March 21st has been canceled. We will hopefully be rescheduling that as soon as possible. And otherwise, the plan is to try to get to the daily vlogs from when I started playing a couple of weeks ago every day. That's all for now. Charlie, what are you doing over here, buddy?
Doing a backflip.
He's doing some backflips over here. So we're doing some exercises. Good job, buddy. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.
Yeah. Whenever that.
Wow, let's see where it goes. Where do you think it'll go? Oh, it got stuck.
Can't make any bumps.
Oh, no bumps. Oh, too tight. Okay, maybe we'll have to rebuild it. Pretty cool.